Thank you, Mr. President. First, I want to thank my friend and colleague from Connecticut for his powerful words and all of the other colleagues who've come to the floor to stand up for a group of young people who need our voices right now. Through no fault of their own, as has been repeated over and over again, these young people, oftentimes babies, were brought to this country without documentation, but they were they didn't know what was happening to them, a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 5-year-old, 7 or 8-year-old. It wasn't their choice, and yet they are paying the price for what happened. There's no question we need comprehensive immigration reform, no question at all. I was very proud and pleased to support a major effort a few years ago, a bipartisan effort in the Senate to do comprehensive immigration reform. It's something we need because our system is broken, there's no question. It hurts families and workers and businesses and farmers in Michigan every single day. But targeting these young people, this almost 800,000 young people, does nothing to solve that problem. And I'm anxious to work with colleagues across the aisle to address comprehensive reform so we have a legal system that works. But we have, again, about 800,000 young people right now who stepped forward and are covered by something called the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals Program, or DACA, who were told if they would step forward, provide the government with all of their personal information about their families, that they, as long as they were following the rules, they were going to school, they were going to college, they were serving in the military, they were doing the right thing, they would be allowed to stay and be successful in our country. In Michigan alone, 10,000 young people have been approved for DACA. Those are some of the numbers, but we're not talking about numbers, as we know. We're talking about people's lives. So we're talking about 10,000 young people in Michigan who are attending college, who are working as nurses or doctors and buying homes and building their own businesses. Maybe they are reaching out in some other way to be successful in the economy. They're serving in our military right now. Somebody serving in our military right this minute could lose their life for our country, the country they love, at the same time that the president and his administration has turned their back on them. These are people raising American children of their own with American family members around them. These children aren't numbers. They're our neighbors. And in Michigan, we care about our neighbors. One of our neighbors is named Wilfredo. He's a dreamer who was brought to the United States when he was 9 years old. Wilfredo works hard. He's a restaurant supply salesman. He owns a home. He's crazy about soccer, and he says he's crazy about his girlfriend. He told Michigan Bridge magazine that they hope to get married one day. But a future that seemed so bright just a few days ago now has a dark cloud hanging over it. Wilfredo is scared. His girlfriend's scared. His family's scared. Will he be sent back to a country he barely remembers? What will happen to his sister, who's an American citizen? Will he ever see her again? Another one of our neighbors in Michigan, Juan, shares that fear. He was 1 year old. 1 year old. Just a baby when his parents brought him to the United States. For many years, Juan lived in the shadows, but that changed in 2012 when our country made a promise to Juan and to others to suddenly step forward and change their future. He was able to get a job, go back to school, drive, even buy a house. Juan told the Detroit Free Press, "I know no other place." He was brought here when he was 1 year old. It's not about sending him back somewhere. There's no going back. He doesn't know any other country. He says, we love this country. We want to make this country a better place. Wilfredo, Juan, and so many other young people are great examples of what we need to happen here in the House and Senate with the White House, and that is comprehensive immigration reform, not using them in a way that does certainly not show the best about America. Right now, though, until we can get comprehensive immigration reform, we need to pass the Bipartisan DREAM Act to protect the young people who have been hurt by this administration's actions. I know we have colleagues on both sides of the aisle that want to work together to do something, to prove that America does keep its promises. But these dreamers have done nothing wrong. They've done everything right. And we need to show them that we do care about them and make sure that our country keeps its promises to them. Mr. President, I yield the floor.